Hey guys, so it's Polka here. I've been asked to make a video where I go over general equipment I use on a macro and why and like my build and oh god, why am I here? Anyway, just kind of go over my build again because I think the last time I did that was 61 and I kind of did it tentatively on 72, but I haven't really made a proper build video since then. So I'm in OP8 right now, but let's slowly travel back to Sanctuary and I will introduce some basic things that I use. Ah, shit. Just guns that are generally good to use. Hey, that's a good shot. With gauge and different builds, because I know in 61 I generally kept to one build, but ever since the whole OP levels came out, I have been changing my builds here and there, so we can go over those and whatnot. So okay, we're here. Let's see, what build do I have right now? Okay, yeah, this is my general what is it, rating build. Yeah. Ah, crap, I didn't mean to do that. Yeah. Honestly, these two are just kind of filler points. This, Malin, is good for the Dargon fights, since Helium can be, quite a little bitch. But, standard OC tree without with claws. I don't have an Insta just because I personally don't like that skill. But, yeah, general OC. BFF got all the essentials that you'll need to complement the OC tree along with Sterner stuff. When that's boosted with the Necromod, that +5 in Sterner stuff, coupled with the Blockade, that can, provide some significant damage reduction, which is always nice when you've got 4 dragons spitting shit at you. 20% cooler because, I do like having DT or my distraction out as much as possible. Let's just go over some equipment I always have. Grog's good to have on you. It's for emergency healing. Always have a twister. That's mainly for Pete and Incinerator that I use those. A seeker I found, this is thanks to Yeldarb, but I found this is pretty useful against Hyperius and robots in general. Of course, I have my trusty Hail, which is pretty essential. I do have a corrosive version and a shock version in my bank. I don't use the shock that much, but yeah, it is nice to have. But definitely want a fire Hail. Some other weapons, we have the Ahab, of course, which is used for that one flacker swap glitch. I don't necessarily advocate that, but if you're raiding at OP8, it's okay to cheese it once in a while. In that same light, that's exactly why I have the Creamer too, because it can come in handy with quick swaps to heal when you're using that method. Few others, I do have a Butcher. I don't use it that much on OP8, but I do use it on lower levels. Appropriately leveled Butcher. I don't use OP8 on OP0 or anything. But, Norfleets, I have 2 of those. Corrosive one's good for taking out Hyperius minions and lowering their shields so you can damage them. Of course the Flacker, which is good even without glitching it with the Ahab or anything. I know there's been some misunderstanding in the forums that it's only good when you use it with the Ahab to glitch it. Okay, upside down it looks really ugly. But yeah, it's a good shoddy if you can get that distance down. You don't have to glitch it to be good. Yeah, the CC, that's for Terra. That's just something I picked up. A Hive is another good one to have for Hyperius minions. I've got my Fibbers there. I should have a non-elemental, yeah, for bringing down the dragons. Yeah, don't forget that if you use any elementals on the dragons to bring them down, they're going to get slag immune most likely, and you don't want that. So I have my Hydra, which is really, really effective, and even in OP levels, as I'm sure Fire will attest to. Blockhead, I can't go without that. Trespasser, just in case, ever decide to group up against Vorak. Let's go over some shields. I have a big boom blaster, is something I always have on me, which is useful for actually a lot of fights. It's good for Pete. It can work for Terra. We also have a Blockade, which can totally tank Hyperius' Novas, so that's nice. Evolution is just something I picked up from a Hyperius skill. I have the Shem, of course. 2 different types of bees, inflammable and alkaline, along with a turtle shield that's OP8. I like this because it's the only one I've found so far that gets your health relatively low. You see it's, I have 5k health. That's super easy to health gate. So, as a random find, I forget where I found it, but pretty good find. I think that's all the shields I use at OP8. Let's go over some class mods. Of course I like this one. This is what I use for Terra. I think I use it for a lot actually these days. But not necessarily the points. Although, sterner stuff is a nice skill to have points in if it's boosted. If you're going 5-5 and sterner stuff, it's not really worth anything, but if you can boost it up to 10 or 11, it's decent. And the crit bonus and the magazine size is also nice. Legendary Anarchist, of course. Slayer of Terra, which is a level 50, and that's kind of important because the higher level you get, the more health it's going to add to you, making it harder to health gate. So low-level Slayer of Terramorphous class mod is probably ideal if you want to carry one around. Jill of all trades, which is nice if you're tanking something like Vorak with a hail. And then my favorite class mod ever, the Patient Prodigy, which boosts in accuracy and reload speed, as well as cooking up trouble and the better half. So you're talking insanely fast reloads, which comes in handy. Okay, now, relics, I have Bone of the Ancients, Fire, Corrosive, and the Shock I have equipped. Aside from that, the Shadow of the Seraphs, which I found to be good in areas that have multiple enemy types. Where you don't have to switch out relics every time you face a different enemy. This is actually a suggestion from Neff, but it's a really good choice to have, especially with Fibbers or anything with a relatively large mag size. Aside from that, I have a resistance relic, which I use for the dragons. It's fire, shock, corrosive, and slag resistance, which comes in handy when everything is hitting you at once from the dragons. Aside from that, I have an OP8 explosive relic. And that's that for relics. Grenade mods, the magic missile, of course. Probably my most used grenade mod. Aside from that, a bouncing Bonnie that's slag. Low level, of course, so it doesn't kill you. Chain lightning, I don't really use this that much, but I just have it just in case. A longbow Tesla, I forgot what I used this for. I think I used to use it for something, and I just kind of have it on me. And singularities, which will come in handy against Hyperius and possibly Master Gi. And that pretty much covers my overall rating loadout. When I'm mobbing though, oops, forgot I had worn that turtle shield. For general mobbing or DP runs, I do like to beef up wanted the DT a bit more. So my build looks something. That's level 4, of course you want that. I don't really get that in that case because probably won't be wearing that mod. Yeah, for mobbing I'm usually rocking Anarchist. Sometimes a Necromancer class mod if there's going to be a lot of enemy types. Let's just go with that. Okay, close enough of course. What do I usually get? I do get cooler. I get sharing is caring. That. That. Yeah, and then I think it's like that, or maybe it's fancy mathematics. I forget. But when I'm going mobbing, or even you know, just regular story mode bosses. I don't have it on me right now because I was trying to not have so much in my backpack. But when I'm mobbing or doing DP runs, it's either a blockade or a hide. You know, inflammable, it doesn't really matter. But I don't really need that. Yeah, this way you've got sharing is caring, so yes, I am. There, I mean, you know, you've got DT, which, you know, is a little buffed up because he's just got that height of Terra. Extra melee, blah blah blah, and yeah, there you go. And yeah, that's my basic mobbing build. When I am specifically DT, when I'm going DP, I'll probably, my loadout probably looks something like this. Yeah. This is a loadout I would use for DP runs. Yep. And then, you know, DT scales to OP levels. So, you know, pretty reliable. And yeah, this actually does help against surveyors, the Melee plus 60. So yeah, I don't really know what else to cover. I pretty much covered all the essential equipment that I use at OP levels. Whatever works at OP8 will work at lower levels. So, you know, this is applicable to pretty much every playthrough mode. So yeah, oops. I guess that's it. I don't really know what else to say, aside from the fact that it got really cold in Texas suddenly, overnight, for some reason. Come to think of it, that whole overnight phrase is like weird because, I mean, isn't it possible for places to get cold over day? I remember it being really warm this morning, so yeah, it got cold over day in Texas, not overnight. But anyway, yeah, I think that's about it. So, thanks for watching, as always, and you know, I don't really know what else to do, so if anyone has any challenges that aren't entirely ridiculous, I'm all ears. So, let me know and post in the comments section, and I might just do a few. But yeah, thanks for watching, and you guys take it easy, and I'll see you later.